You guys, it's been 4 years since I played this game. Boy, have I missed Ellie, Joel, the Mountain from Game of Thrones, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh wait, my bad. That's just Abby and Lev. The Last of Us Part 2. The Game of the Year winner in 2020, and the sequel to one of the best games of all time. Ridden with controversy upon its release, and for a good reason. But in 2024 for the PS5, The Last of Us Part 2 has received a remaster. But how far is the graphical leap? How fun is the new game modes and levels? And how well do I like the game in its completed form? Let's find out. But first and foremost, if you've been watching my content for a little bit, please consider subscribing. I post content weekly, and you don't want to miss a thing. Thanks. Story. The Last of Us Part 2 story was the definition of controversy when it released. It seemed like you either love this game and you think it's a masterpiece, or you absolutely hated it. For all of its flaws and cutthroat moments, I actually enjoyed the story for The Last of Us Part 2. Ellie's a character that I've always been a fan of since the first game, and over time, I've learned to really come around to Abby. Although, that definitely wasn't always the case. Abby's character arc wronged a ton of diehard fans of the franchise, many never to return again, and I understand that. But for me, I thought this story ended up having a huge payoff with her character development, and even more with Ellie by the end of the game. This game faced a legendary amount of leaks, and if you weren't spoiled going into this game, then it entirely subverted players' expectations. This franchise is The Last of Us, a game where everyone you love and care for dies. In many ways, that's exactly what this franchise sowed with the release of The Last of Us Part 2, killing off half its player base in the name of controversy, while alienating those who support the game in the process. Graphics. The original PS4 release was already a beautiful game, one of the best looking PS4 games of all time in fact, but with the release of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on PS5, I couldn't really tell a huge difference between both games, but I did notice that the game looks far sharper and more polished than the PS4 variant. It already had 60 frames per second, but it still looks buttery smooth. I'm mainly confused why they chose the name Remastered for this version of the game. In my mind, the term remastered is for games that have had heavy enhancements in the graphics department, and that's the primary appeal for that particular version. But in this case, it would have serviced this far better to be called a Director's Cut or Definitive Edition. I honestly can't really tell what's been improved here graphically, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, this game didn't really need much remastering. No Return. No Return is a roguelike mode, where you get to play as one of 8 characters from the main game. Well, as long as you've unlocked them, that is. Where you get to go through randomized runs until you eventually reach a boss and kill them. Just like the main game, No Return has multiple difficulty settings to choose from, which I'm honestly not the greatest fan of. And perhaps, that's just the elitist in me talking. But I love when we're all on the same playing field, and I know if you've beaten that boss, then you've endured the same challenge as me. It's the key to a great roguelike in my opinion. But with my complaints about difficulty aside, this is actually a rather deep and satisfying game mode. Along your run, you'll choose between different encounters that have set mods that offer both positive and negative effects on your initial encounter, and if you complete it, then you'll get a specific amount of currency to upgrade your character to continue your current run. Each character has their own independent loadouts to start off with, then afterwards everything's randomly acquired through trading posts in the hideouts, and is purchased with that currency. Learning the different playstyles is actually great replay value, with my personal favorites being Joel, Jesse, and Manny. There's tons of challenges you can beat and skins to unlock for both characters and weapons. Plus, I really enjoyed the nice touch of having both sides of protagonists having their own hideouts unique to where they were in the main story. It was a pleasant surprise once I unlocked all the characters on Ellie's side first, because I really wanted to play as Joel, that once I finally started to play as Abby, I realized that they were actually at the aquarium and not the theater. One huge gripe I have with the gameplay though, is that you cannot dodge or go prone with Joel or Tommy. I don't know why Naughty Dog keeps making that decision, but it doesn't feel great. And it's a wasted opportunity once again in my opinion to really enhance the gameplay in particular. But all else aside, No Return is an addicting roguelike mode that I would love to see Naughty Dog add even more to. Not having Owen as a playable character on Abby's side also felt weird, considering they added Mel to the lineup, who honestly wasn't a fan favorite by any means in my opinion. Maybe they can add more characters, modes, and skins to really give it longevity outside of its initial release. Lost Levels. I won't lie. I was a little bit disappointed by the lost levels initially. From what I originally thought was actual levels from early development completed and brought forward as some sort of DLC, was eventually realized to just be some form of interactive concept art with developer commentary that I can actually play through. It is a cool look inside the development process of The Last of Us Part 2, And over time, I learned to appreciate these for what they were. Something like this is neat for the first time playthrough, but outside of that, I don't think I will ever play through these again. I think with the absence of something like Left Behind from the first games remastered, they felt obligated to incorporate some form of story content, although not canon. But I will say that Naughty Dog should have found a way to incorporate all of these together in some form and created an actual DLC. I mean, come on, it's been 4 years, and majority of No Return were reskins and reused assets from the main game. And I'm sorry, but for someone like me, it just does not cut it. Trophies. If you're an owner of the original PS4 version, then you'll receive all trophies unlocked once you import your current save file into the game. Or you can decide to opt out and collect everything again. I unlocked my Platinum in the PS4 version, and I happily got that back because it helped me fast track the unlockables in-game, with many of them being brand new skins for characters and weapons. Plus they added 13 new trophies for No Return mode. Majority of these trophies are difficulty and challenge based, and I enjoyed them far more than the completion and collection based trophies from the main game. Price point. After the overpriced $70 and highly controversial Last of Us Part 1 remake, Naughty Dog showed a sign of grace with their fanbase by making the remaster's upgrade path only $10 for PS4 owners, and $50 for the first time purchase. I think this price point is appropriate, and I would love to see these prices implemented into the Part 1 remake soon. And believe it or not, Naughty Dog even took it a step further this time, making it impossible for people to pre-order the $50 version of the remastered, if they already own the digital version on PS4. They automatically refunded the purchase cost and let people know to buy the upgraded path upon release. That's a sign of solidarity, ensuring the player base gets the correct price for a game that they already own, and an absolute win for Sony and Naughty Dog in my eyes. Naughty Dog's redemption arc. Compared to all the shady practices Naughty Dog has had recently, I think the release of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is actually a turning point for Naughty Dog. They've seemingly put their greed to the side and sided with the player base on this one. They gave us an inside look of their development process of their games, and they even made an addicting fleshed out roguelike mode with unique playstyles and interchangeable characters. I would say Naughty Dog's in the process of showing the player base they aren't who we say they are, and I think it might be working. I've always been a huge fan of The Last of Us series, and Naughty Dog as developers, so it makes me happy to see them do the right thing and protect their player base from cash grabs. Overall, 9 out of 10. The Last of Us Part 2, when I played it in 2020, was a game I considered a masterpiece. I love this game, and I replayed it constantly. I wasn't a huge fan of how they treated some characters I've fallen in love with, but I've gotten over that since my initial shock subsided. In 2020, this game was a 10 out of 10, but a ton of time has passed since then. My tastes in video games have changed since then, and we've had so many incredible games released in the past few years, making my return to this classic not as sweet as I remembered. The graphics are still top of the line, some of the best action horror gameplay ever created, and story-wise, it's a game I've grown to love. But I do think that this game has its flaws. The remastered for Part 2 is not as strong as the original games remastered on the PS4. That game had a far bigger graphical leap forward, and they added the beloved story DLC Left Behind. As much as I enjoy the lost levels for what they were, and No Return, I do think that it was kind of thrown together last minute because they needed some new content for this release. It's a 9 out of 10 because I still love this game. At times, it's a masterpiece, but this variation, although worth the money, falls short for me. But if you're lucky enough for this remaster to be your first time playing The Last of Us Part 2, then it's by far the best way to experience this game. And honestly, I'm jealous of you, because in my mind, I have no doubt that you'll be blown away. Now thank you guys so much if you stayed the entire time. Last of Us Part 2 is a dark, depressing, and epic journey. It has beautiful graphics and one of the best action horror gameplays ever created. Now let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this. Do you guys think this game was a total win or an absolute stinker? Did you guys like the price point? And let me know how you guys like No Return and the Lost Levels. Let me know everything in the comment section. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, do anything you guys can to help me. I am just one guy and I make these videos because it is my passion. So thank you very much. Have a nice day. This has been Drew Spacely. Peace. I mean, for real, no Owen is some freaking bullshit, dude. That's some fucking crazy shit. Some stupid shit. Sorry, one more thing. I wasted a lot of time and energy making this video right here, so please, go check it out.